Welcome to Adam Does Movies Live, Thursday? What day are we on? It's Tuesday, October 11th, October 10th. It doesn't matter. Time is just a human construct. We're just molecules floating around in this vast emptiness we call space and life and whatever. Let's talk movies. I have a Mountain Dew. I'm trying to pare back on the soda I drink. I know it's not good. I know it has a lot of health benefits, but I'm trying to cut back, believe it or not. We are going to be nursing this Mountain Dew can for the next couple streams. So what I have done is I've filled up a lot of ice into a glass, and we're just going to use this for the day. This is our night fuel and nothing more. Hopefully nothing less. Hopefully some less, really. Hope everybody's having a good night. I just got done playing chess with my son right before going live. He begged me. We've been into chess a lot lately. I'm not good at chess, but I'm better than my 11-year-old son as of now. He's learning nothing from me, but we're still doing it. Okay, let's go over some of the housekeeping before we get into the main topic, which is going to be A24 scary movies ranked. Yeah, I ranked them. And as you know, if you watch this for a while, ranking lists are stupid to me. I find them completely pointless, but YouTube loves them. People love them. I didn't call this a ranked video. It just kind of ended up going that way because I wanted to talk about some of the A24 scary movies that I really like and then some that I don't. I didn't want to make two different letterbox lists. It got really messy. So instead, I just kind of starred them, and we're going to go through them that way. As always, I encourage super chats. That's the name of the game on these live streams. I do 2 live streams a week. They make up a large chunk of the revenue the channel brings in monthly, believe it or not. YouTube's not a great payout service. I don't have any idea how a person can do this for a full-time job. I've mentioned this many times. I am a web developer / front-end designer. I work from home. I've been working from home pre-COVID. I've been doing this a long time. So I have a very flexible work schedule, which is why I'm able to kind of have 2 full-time jobs pretty much, plus the wife and the 2 children. Today we went to, what's the name of that place? Something Gardens. I don't know. It's got alligators. We walked around. I forget names of things. Every day just kind of blends together. Cyrus Garden, I think. Cyrus the Virus Garden. It's a beautiful place. They filmed The Notebook there. I believe they filmed a scene from The Patriot there with Mel Gibson. So we bring it back to movies whenever possible. Well, we spend a couple hours there just kind of hiking the trails, looking at some of the alligators, trying not to get eaten. We did make it out unscathed, which is always a win. It's nice to go to a place where the number one goal is to just not get killed. And then you make it out and you're like, yeah, well, hey, that was a success. Let's do it again sometime. Movie-wise, I like to start giving out a recommendation every week, or at least every one of these live streams. I watched Zombieland with my son, Connor. He's 11. He wanted to watch a big kid movie that's scary, not too scary. he is kind of a wimp when it comes to this stuff. He has a very wild imagination, so I didn't want to go hog wild with something too intense. Zombieland's a good time. It's an hour, and it's not even an hour and a half. It's like an hour 24. This thing does not mess around. I love how it plays off font. It's one of the first movies that I really felt had a good use of, hey, let's not just put up boring, titles. Let's actually have fun with the names that come up. Let's incorporate text into the movie, kind of like how Scott Pilgrim does. I appreciated that. From a graphic design stance, I really like that. Michael Cera's awesome. Woody Harrelson's great. Emma Stone, one of the first movies I saw her in, an absolute treasure. Abigail Breslin's a delight. If you haven't seen it, I don't even want to ruin. I don't know how you haven't seen it. It's older now, but the cameo in this film, the extended cameo, is so freaking good. If you can go in without being spoiled, I recommend it. So Zombieland 2 came out, I think, a decade later. I enjoy that one as well. Not as good as the first, but some people really crapped all over it. I still thought it was pretty fun. We have a Pool Watch update. I am working on a title card for this because it's going to be an ongoing project. The neighbor, if you don't know, is putting in a pool. I'm excited for him. It's a very expensive project. We really don't have any yards to speak of. Yeah, he doesn't have a fence up yet. Hopefully that's coming. I think it is by law supposed to happen. Hasn't been any mention of one, but we'll see how this shakes out. I'm sure it won't be uncomfortable and awkward for both of us down the road. No movement on the pool this week. After the whole fiasco with cutting block in the back and the cement dust going all over my back porch and I having to hose everything off for multiple hours, moving everything into the garage, nothing has changed on the pool. This is going to be a project that extends far into the future. I can't wait to share more with you. It's definitely going to be something to remember. Unfortunately, nothing too exciting on the Pool Watch update. This week, the Friday night stream is not happening because I will be at the Taylor Swift Eras Tour movie premiere extravaganza event. I read that this thing has already sold. As I'm talking, the back of my mind, I'm freaking out that I've had the mute on the whole time. It's not on. I am talking. I've been told that this thing is already pre-sold $150 million worth of tickets. This is going to do Barbie numbers. This might do better than Barbie numbers. We're talking $1 billion at the box office. And if anybody's going to do it, Taylor Swift is. And she's a treasure. I'm excited for it. Going with my daughter, going with a buddy Matt. He's coming up. It's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. What else on the news front before I get in? Oh, I appreciate some of the new subscribers on the Adam Does Movies podcast on Spotify. You can also become a member on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, other podcasting services. I noticed an uptick in listens, in plays, in views, whatever you want to call them. So I'm grateful for that. I like to see that that's trending in the right direction. People seem to be enjoying the podcast. I did not. I finally missed one this last Monday. Just yesterday, I guess, was Monday. Man, it feels like it's a Thursday today, but it's only Tuesday. What is happening? I did not get one out yesterday. I'm very sad about that, but I did put up the live from last Friday. That's up on the whatever the podcasting service of your choice. I am bummed out though. You didn't get anything new on YouTube. I'm hoping to make amends by getting a couple filmed, recorded, and ready to go so that we don't have this debacle again. Time just got in the way. It's a problem. Time just got in the way. Lastly, if you didn't know, earlier today, the Twilight roast went live. This thing I'm very proud of. I love doing the movie roasts, but they do take a long time. They take a toll. I watch these horrible movies. Twilight's 2 hours long. I pause the movie constantly and write down jokes and notes and commentary. I film the video it takes an hour. I think it took me an hour and 15 minutes to film my Twilight roast because I screw up a lot. Then I have to edit the shit out of it, find clips. And on top of all of this, YouTube has the fucking audacity. They have the nerve to flag the living hell out of my video. I'm very good about keeping the video clips under 4 seconds. With Twilight, I had to go down to 3 seconds on almost every single one of them. It was a project. I uploaded the video 9 times. 9 different copyright flag attacks. I'm pulling it down. I'm looking at the time codes and I'm re-editing, re-uploading, pulling down, re-editing, re-uploading. It's not good. It's not good. After a while, I started putting up low res videos at 420p because they render a lot faster, they encode faster, and of course they upload faster. Then I could finally say, okay, this is the one that works. It didn't get copyright flag. Now I can put out the 4K version, which is what I did. I wanted to have this done yesterday afternoon, have a nice premiere watch along. Instead, it went live earlier today at noon. I would encourage you to watch the roasts. There's a beautiful playlist of all of them. Did a Street Fighter one recently. I don't know what's next on the docket. I have to reach out to the Mithril members or the Unobtainium members, whoever's next in line. I've kind of just been saying, hey, if you haven't had a request in a while, go to the roast list. Let me know what you want. And then we do it that way. People, of course, have super chatted roasts as well, and that's appreciated. But if you have any questions about that, let me know. Okay, let's get into. I think we're ready to go. I think I have everything that I want. Let's bring up the list. A24, and I am going to start. I'm going to start with the worst one that I've ever seen by A24. Might not be a shock to some people. Let's bring it up. I'm going to take a drink because I'm a little parched. Nice pregnant pause. Lamb. Let's read the synopsis, short for synopsis of Lamb. A couple discover a mysterious half lamb, half human newborn on the farm in Iceland. The unexpected prospect of family life brings them much joy before ultimately destroying them. I've looked at several ranking lists of A24 and reviews of Lamb, and the reviewer, the critic, whatever you want to call them, is just absolutely gaga over this film. And I honestly can't for the life of me understand why. The visuals, cinematography, yeah, great. It's pretty. It's in Iceland. Shocker. It looks fucking gorgeous. It's just rolling hills and cold, desolate landscapes. There's two people that don't really connect very well. They're not the most likable, and they make really dumb choices. And along the way, they have this magical birthing of a lamb that comes along. The mother raises it. It's so bizarre, and bizarre is fine if it goes somewhere interesting, but Lamb never goes anywhere. It really goes nowhere at all. And it's about the human psyche, and it's about tearing at the fabric of each other, and then there's this betrayal with the brother that comes along, and it's a relationship movie. And the lamb is really kind of pointless. It's nothing more than a catalyst for me to experience these two miserable people kind of duke it out once in a while. But for the most part, you're just sitting there with this, wondering when it's going to end. And it never does. It never fucking ends. And that's Lamb, a movie that was praised. It was critically a success. People love it. I hated it. It's last on my list. Let's go to the next one. And again, if you have a thought on Lamb, you want to super chat, please let me know I'm wrong. If I bring up one of these movies by A24 and you want to get into it, we can get into it. Just super chat me, give me your thoughts on it, and I'll listen. And I will not agree. Perm, shot out of a cannon with a $10 super chat. Chess is addicting. Perm's back on chess over here. I've moved on. I'm on checkers now. Pools are overrated. The Twilight roast was hilarious, and A24 is now the only way I can achieve climax. I'm hearing you. I should point out, thank you, Perm, for bringing up A24. We are in Halloween month. This is Rocktober, Spooktober. We're doing A24 today. Blumhouse is going to be on here. We're going to do a Blumhouse list. I'm going to rank those. There's actually quite a few more on that one. I think I have 14 or 15 A24 movies on this thing that I've seen. Blumhouse has a ton. Probably do a Neon list. Neon does a lot of indie stuff. There's some good horror by them. Focus Pictures has a good amount of horror. So I am going to be dabbling in different ones. This isn't a one and done situation with A24. We're going to bring in the other studios and the other scary movies that way as well. Thank you, Perm. I appreciate the super chat. Thanks, Perm. Such a good name. All right, this movie sucks. Men, 2022, Men. In the aftermath of a personal tragedy, Harper retreats alone to the beautiful English countryside, hoping to find a place to heal. But someone or something from the surrounding woods appears to be stalking her. What begins as a simmering dread becomes a fully formed nightmare. I fully agree. The movie is the real villain here. The movie itself. What starts as a little bit of a boil. Something's percolating under the surface. It's rising up, and that's the film itself, the pacing, the delivery. It becomes a full-blown orgasm of terrible, terrible story. I don't like allegory bullshit. This whole movie's allegory about a woman's trauma and how the men in her life all kind of seem the same. They're all, in one way or another, looking for a woman's love and affection and trying to maybe better themselves or birth out different variants of themselves to try to appease the woman. But at the end of the day, they all look the same. They all talk the same. They're all trash. And I don't even necessarily disagree. I just found the thing to be kind of just miserable to watch. Although the birthing sequence of men coming out of each other's assholes or vaginas or whatever they have in that situation, that was gold. Watching that 3 or 4 times over. Yes, please sign me up for more. Miserable. Okay, here we are. Under the Skin. This is on my, what is my ranking out of? 14, 13. So this is number 12 on my list. Under the Skin. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a happily married man, by the way. I only watched Under the Skin because I heard ScarJo gets naked at some point. I'm a simple man. I appreciate the female body. My wife knows that better than anyone. And we're very comfortable in our skin. We've been together since high school sweethearts. Anyway, was it worth it? Watch me work it. I don't think so. A seductive stranger prowls the streets of Glasgow in search of prey. Unsuspecting men who fall under her spell. Ooh, how delightful. These movies kind of have a pattern. Except for, I guess in this one, she's stalking the men instead of the men stalking her. This is an art house film. This is an abstract piece. It's very... I don't even want to say noir. It's just, it really is abstract. A lot of scenes are her kind of standing on the other side. You know, she'll like lead a man into her fortress, into her room, and then the camera will pan across a dark, empty void with some liquid pool in the middle. She'll be on one side, naked in the distance, and he'll go to her and then drown in the water below. It's, of course, all metaphorical. It's all allegorical. This creature, you know, she's an alien. It's like if they took the movie Species and they removed all the good sexual stuff and all the hotness of Species and made a more bland, artsy fartsy kind of slow burn. Now, I will say the end of Under the Skin is pretty freaking cool. The last 5 minutes are really cool when she sheds her skin and underneath is this really cool looking, I said cool like 4 times. I apologize. English is my only language and I'm not great at that. This awesome, there we went to awesome instead of cool, black alien thing underneath, that visually looked stunning and a little bit terrifying. I like that. That was about it. That was the only part of Under the Skin I liked outside of the ScarJo naked in front of a mirror for 5 or 6 seconds. That was good too. Probably could have just found that online though. But Under the Skin, there you go. You know, cock's on the table. That's why I watched that one. Lindsay watched it with me as well. I don't think she cared for it. I'm pretty sure she fell asleep early on. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is number 11 on my list. When a group of 20-somethings gets stuck at a remote mansion during a hurricane, a party game gone very, very wrong ends with a dead body on the ground and fake friends at every turn as they try to find the killer among them. Among is the key word here. This movie is essentially Among Us, which was very popular during the COVID times when Bodies came out. It was on the tail end, I believe. This is an Among Us game with real people, and that was actually something that was trending on socially for a while too. People were doing an Among Us type thing in their own house. I don't like this movie. I get what they're going for. The characters are incredibly unlikable by design. They are 20 somethings, but the movie's also kind of trying to appeal to the demographic they're also shitting on. So it's a very small window of people that are going to think, yep, I know people just like this. I can relate and I hate them. And that's really what they're going for. But anyone that's my age or older just is annoyed by all of this. I wanted all of them to die, and that's not a good sign. I don't want my protagonists in movies to die usually, unless they're villains and we're watching some sort of a Uno reverse thing like Joker. I will say on a positive end, the neon stuff was pretty cool. Some of it visually looked nice at night. Unfortunately, the whole movie takes place at night, and a lot of it's hard to see. Again, by design, it's just not very scary. You're often kind of just wondering, is this supposed to be a comedy, a dark comedy, horror, a mix of everything? When you're a mix of everything, oftentimes nothing's really working. And that's how it was for me with Bodies. Okay, number 10 on the list. It's honestly remarkable this is higher up on my list than Bodies. There's a scene. Let me paint you a picture. There's a scene in A Ghost Story where the main protagonist here, Rooney Mara, who's really the only character in this, I guess Casey Affleck's in it. I don't even remember that. Casey Affleck's in this movie. I thought she was just kind of by herself most of the time. She is sitting in the kitchen, having a slice of cake, goes onto the ground, and just starts crying into her piece of cake for a solid, I want to say 3 minutes straight. 2 or 3 uninterrupted minutes, solid camera shot of Rooney Mara just crying into a piece of cake. It's not a good look. There's another scene in the movie where we have a window view, I think. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a shot of Rooney Mara taking her garbage can out to the curb. She then stops, checks out the garbage can, makes sure it looks okay, walks all the way in. This isn't a quick 5-second situation. This is a long driveway. She takes her time moving it out there. She takes her time coming back. We're talking a 45-second sequence of her taking out the trash. It took her longer to do it in the movie than it takes me to do it in real life. That's a problem. It's a problem. This is all purposeful. They're intentionally making a slow movie to show you that Rooney Mara's character is empty. She lost someone that she loved. And he's stalking her the whole time. He's there with her as a ghost, which is a literal dude with a white sheet over him. This has a fascinating look to it. It's got a Polaroid film style, the entire film. Very, very odd. So it's kind of like 4:3 aspect ratio, but worse. It's another one of those movies that's more concept than execution. However, it's saved by the ending, which is freaking great. We have I'd say 15-minute sequence at the end that is kind of the only reason why I would soft recommend this thing. I don't like this movie, but there's parts of it that I really thought were cool. And the only way you can really enjoy the end of it is to go through the cake crying and the garbage can pulling out. And then you get to this moment and it's okay. That was sweet. I liked what they did here. It works. The movie as a whole does not. But that's, the one thing about A24, and I will always give them credit for this, is they go all in with the movies that they pick. It's a lot of creative voices. It's a lot of interesting directors and writers and stories. And even if they don't work for me, they absolutely work for someone else. They are very polarizing movies, but they go for broke. and they are very different than most of the things you see out there. That's why A24 has such a good reputation. People appreciate that they're not cookie cutter. And cookie cutter works, of course, because it's cookie cutter. There's a playbook that people follow, a beginning, middle, end. You meet a character, they have their ups, their downs, they flatten out at the end, or they win the day, or they lose the day, and you learn something. It's all very formulaic and stock. But A24 is like we have a beginning, we have an end, we have a middle. A24 is we have an end, we have more end, we have the end. We don't have a beginning or a middle at all. And it can work very well. We have a super chat from I would say Kali Wally, $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. A Ghost Story is one of my all-time favorite films, but I completely understand why folks may not like it. Also, the pie scene is 7 minutes long. What? What? Are you serious? I gotta take a drink for that. Oh, that's insane. 7 minutes long. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you. I'm also glad I didn't completely shit on Ghost Story if it's one of your favorites. Again, I shit because I care. I wanted to like these movies. Even the ones that I hate, I can still see why someone would like them because they're polarizing. They're going to work for individuals, and on the whole, it's a mixed bag. All right, next up, this is another one I'm sad to say I did not care for. And that's Pearl. Ty West film. This is the prequel to X, which came out the exact same year, only a few months apart, which is genius. It's awesome. He filmed 2 different movies in tandem, released them in the same year. Pearl was a secret release. I don't think the last one's come out yet because this is a trilogy. I don't think the last one came out. All right, let's read. Trapped on her family's isolated farm, Pearl must tend to her ailing father under the bitter and overbearing watch of her devout mother. Okay, lusting for a glamorous life like she's seen in the movies, Pearl's ambitions, temptations, and repressions all collide in the stunning Technicolor-inspired origin story of X's iconic villain. Maya Goth is the entire movie. She's the show. She puts in a hell of a performance. Visually speaking, I love it. Love the whole Dorothy Wizard of Oz look. There's a great play sequence early on. From a scare standpoint, no. This isn't a scary movie. This is a psychological thriller, I guess you could say. It's a unpacking of a villain from X. My issue with Pearl, and it was my issue going in, I didn't think she needed to be unpacked. I didn't see much there, to be honest. I didn't find her an interesting villain. I just found her, well, I shouldn't say I didn't find her an interesting villain. I found her a very interesting villain, but not one that needed to have a backstory. That's like having a backstory for the Jeepers Creepers creature. I don't care. I don't need it. Pearl just, yeah. The kills weren't that great. The trailer was so much better than the movie ended up being for me. And the whole manic laughing to end things while the credits are going up, just, yeah, that's kind of perfect. It's a perfect example of why I don't like the film. It felt like it was trying too hard to be different, to get out there. Whereas X, I thought, effortlessly fell into the time period and into the kills and in just the situations in general. Pearl, it felt too much, trying too hard. Maya Goth, however, very much delivers. And I know some people that really like this movie. Really like that movie. All right, we're starting to get into the good stuff. This is probably the last one on my A24 list of scary movies. A24's at this point produced, I think, 124 films I saw. I haven't seen them. I mean, that's how big their list is. It might be larger than that even. So this is just but a slice. I was just trying to get the scary ones. It Comes at Night might be one of the greatest false advertising premises I've witnessed in quite a while. Secure within a desolate home as an unnatural threat terrorizes the world, a man has established a tenuous domestic order with his wife and son. But this will soon be put to the test when a desperate young family arrives seeking refuge. It comes at night, gives us the promise, or at least the potential, short for potential, of some evil demon or alien or creature of any kind coming at night and killing these people. But again, we are going the psychological thriller route. We don't know what it is. We never see it. It never comes out at night. Ironically, the real threat are the people themselves. Because when you interact with others, those people die. So even if you're living together as a family unit, you're not speaking to each other. You're not connecting emotionally or physically. You are essentially the walking dead. And so what's really the point of living if you're not living at all? It has very interesting there's good commentary here for sure. I just did not like the idea of like misrepresenting what the film is. People wanted to see a monster movie of sorts, and I guess they kind of got it, but really no. This was a very slow moving film that, again, I don't think really paid off at all. Another one that was pretty neat in the concept department, but doesn't feel like it was fleshed out enough. Also, why does this guy kind of look like Tom Hanks in the picture? Little weird. All right, Ari Aster, he's got a couple movies by A24. This one's considered a horror movie? I don't know. I guess kind of. It's more of an experimental film, I guess. Another art piece, really. From the darkest fears comes the greatest adventure. A paranoid man embarks on an epic odyssey to get home to his mother. That is the full synopsis on Letterboxd, and I don't really think you could say much more about it because it is so all over the place. The movie is a psychological tour de force. You are with Joaquin Phoenix as he's scared to do he's like, what about Bob? He's scared to do everything. He doesn't want to leave his apartment. He certainly doesn't want to go across country to see his mom who just died. He doesn't want to bury her and deal with all the fallout of that. So what we have here is it's a road trip film where Bo is going to get out of his comfort zone, which, by the way, his comfort zone is not comforting at all. He lives in a dilapidated complex surrounded by crack whores, prostitutes, tweakers, drug, addicts. Like it's just nightmare fuel all around him. Bo should be afraid. Bo should be very afraid at all times. I have never gone to a movie, experienced a movie, and left with so much mixed feelings about said movie in my entire life. This is a roller coaster of a film. I do recommend it. I fall on the side of I enjoy it, and I would watch it again absolutely. This is like Alice in Wonderland, somehow on more acid. I do think the ending blows ass, though. I think the last 10 minutes really sucks, where he's in front of a judge and jury. That did not really fly with me, but it leads to so much conversation. Did Bo die in his bathtub early on, and this is all in his head? Has Bo been dead the whole time? What about the story with the three men who go out at different times and come back, and they're different and change? Is this a metaphor of sorts? Is this really about Bo and his brother and father and mother? There's so much to unpack in this film, and you easily could get something more on each watch. And that's why it's definitely a recommendation, but it's a recommendation with a very big tread fucking lightly. This is not a movie you watch with mom and dad. This is a movie you watch alone and decide, what am I doing with my life? Why am I watching this movie? And why do I kind of want to rewatch this movie? It also has one of the greatest sex scenes I've seen in quite a while. And by greatest, I mean, wow, that was disturbing. Very disturbing, but good. Also, Parker Posey was somehow smoking hot in that one, more so than usual. All right, we have Talk to Me. This is a new one, came out last year. Was it last year? I feel like it was this year. Wow. All right. When a group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an Embalmed hand, they become hooked on the new thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces, as one does, as one always does in this situation. This has a terrible name. It should be Talk to the Hand. Talk to Me is so generic. Talk to the Hand. I mean, that's a fun play on an old phrase from like the 90s. Talk to the Hand. Okay, it doesn't matter. They're literally talking to a hand. They're conjuring up spirits, which turns out are pretty much demons. It's not a good place to be. And they're getting a high off of this. Again, A24, they do fun things. This was directed, I think, by the Michael Philippou. I'm not sure how to say it. Michael and Danny. They have a YouTube channel. Can't remember what it's called. Someone told me about it in the comments, and then I've seen several times since that these guys ran a YouTube channel. They do very visceral, crazy videos. I've actually seen a couple of them. They're really fun, and they are very out there. The movie, funny enough, doesn't seem to go near as extreme as the style they have on YouTube, but I really like the look of this movie. There are some intense kills, to be sure. Main protagonist, not the most likable, but she does enough. You're with her enough on the ride. It's another one where you could definitely pick up a few more things on more watches, but I think it's good enough to just watch once and get enough out of it. I don't have a ton to say. It's a well-made movie. It's definitely one of the more, I'd say, safe bets when it comes to A24. It's not doing anything too wild or crazy. All right, number 5 on the list. This one's a controversial one. This is the artsy Adam pick, I'd say. For the most part, the artsy stuff's at the bottom of my list. This is one where it did connect with me. I did appreciate it, and that's why it's here. Also, Anya Taylor-Joy, always incredible, I think. And this was one of the first times I've seen her in a movie. I think this was the first film I saw her in, 2015. Evil takes many forms. In 1630s New England, William and Catherine lead a devout Christian life with 5 children, homesteading on the edge of an impassable wilderness, exiled from their settlement when William defies the local church. When their newborn son vanishes and crops mysteriously fail, the family turns on one another. The Witch is again, not that scary, more of a psychological thriller. There is a good vibe to it, though, because it looks so old school. I mean, it takes place in the 1600s. Just that setting alone is eerie as shit. there's no TV. There's no phones. They're in the middle of the freaking woods, isolated from everyone, all society, all civilization. And then something's going on. They start to lose faith in each other. They're turning on each other. They're questioning where they're standing. And the townspeople hate them. So they think, okay, who's coming and messing with our stuff? But as the movie starts to unwind, you're seeing, oh shit, this is getting a little intense. I will say, this is not a jump scare type film. This is not a movie where there's a lot of death and a lot of, high stakes, high octane stuff. It is a slow build, but I like where it goes. I really like where it goes. That's The Witch. It's a haunting vibe. All right, number 4. This is very much like Beau is Afraid for me. Oh, and look, it's Ari Aster again. Midsummer, or some people call it Midsummer. Midsummer. Several friends traveled to Sweden to study as anthropologists. Anthropologists? I don't know what that is. A summer festival that is held every 90 years in the remote hometown of one of them. I don't even know what that's saying. What begins as a dream vacation in a place where the sun never sets gradually turns into a dark nightmare as the mysterious inhabitants invite them to participate in their disturbing festive activities. Really fun-tivities at the end of the day. Midsummer made me feel sick to my stomach watching every minute of it unfold. It's one of the rare movies where I'm fully engrossed in it and I'm fully grossed out by it. There is some wild shit going on in this film. You don't know where it's going to go. And the brilliance of it all is it takes place mainly in the day. outside of the beginning act, where we're not in this weird festival of nations, the beginning has, sad, kind of standard horror. And then we enter into this psychedelic freak show, and all bets are off. And I'm along for the ride. I have yet to watch it again, but I keep wanting to. In the back of my mind, I think, I want to watch Midsummer again. I want to feel that beautiful sickness for a second time. Get another hit of that Midsummer goodness. And again, the ending very much sticks the landing. I dig this one quite a bit. We have one more super chat here. Let's read it quick. Kyle Nelson, a beautiful $2 super chat, says, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Obviously, at number one, I'm going to take a drink really quick and then explain something. Kyle, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once absolutely would be number one for my A24 picks. I love that movie. This is A24 scary movies only. Now, I understand some of these on here kind of walk in the line. Not really sure if I would call them scary movies, but that's kind of how they're being cataloged by others. So I throw them on here. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Not a horror in any sense of the word. Not a scary movie in any sense of the word. It's a beautiful movie. It's a brilliant film. I love it to pieces, but it's not part of this. The same can be said for Green Knight, which is not good. I don't care for Green Knight. I don't like it. It has some interesting stuff again. I believe it's the same director that did A Ghost Story. And I kind of feel the same way about both of them. Green Knight, not horror, not scary, not on this list. Room with Brie Larson, that would be in the top three. But I kept that one off. Not scary, not horror. It is definitely thriller, definitely drama. Almost put it on here, but I didn't. And again, like I said, there's 120 some A24 movies. I went as close as I could to just the scary stuff since we're in Scaretober. All right, next on the list at number 3, X Gonna Give It to You. Ty West. In 1979, a group of young filmmakers set out to make an adult film in rural Texas. But when their reclusive, elderly hosts catch them in the act, the cast find themselves fighting for their lives. This has a great cast. You got Brittany Snow, Jenna Ortega, Maya Goth, Kid Cudi. I forgot Kid Cudi. I'm seeing that on the list as well. Kid Cudi's in here. I really dig this setting. It takes place almost entirely on this reclusive farm field in the back house that they have for them. The elderly couple's creepy as shit. The porn stuff, honestly, was a little underdone, if you ask me. I was expecting more. I was expecting a little bit more raunchy, salacious stuff. Brittany Snow is obviously in the mix, which is nice to see. Jenna Ortega's a little young here, a little uncomfortably young for me. But yeah, we got Snow to look at. We do have some great kills in this. Some very bloody kills going on. Again, this old-ass couple with Pearl being one of the main ones, they get into some pretty insane antics as this thing goes on, especially the lovemaking on the bed with some of the protagonists underneath. That's the real icing on the cake. A very simple premise. It does not overstay its welcome. Short and to the point. Really like X. Great A24 movie. Again, this is one of the more, I'd say, on the safer end of A24, more traditionally told story. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all wrong with that. Oh, and Maya Goth, by the way, she plays 2 different characters in this film. She plays one of the porn stars, well, I guess one of the amateur porn stars, and she plays Pearl. Both old Pearl and then Pearl again in the prequel version. Hereditary. The top 2 movies on my list, I saw when they came out, haven't watched them since, really enjoyed them when they came out, and I can't tell you for the life of me much about these movies, other than I love the pacing of them. I love the haunting nature of them for multiple different reasons. Hereditary, though, 2018, Ari Aster. This is a great movie. Toni Collette, I just talked about her recently. She should have won an award or 14 for this performance. It's freaking great, but she's always great. Let's see the synopsis. Maybe it'll jar my memory a little bit. When Ellen, the matriarch of the Graham family, passes away, her daughter's family begins to unravel cryptic and increasingly terrifying secrets about their ancestry. That's not really giving me much. Not giving me much to go on. I remember there's a creepy dollhouse in the basement, I think. I remember that the daughter's kind of a little eerie looking, and she loses her head pretty early on in an awesome head decapitation by mailbox. I remember Toni Collette gets possessed. She's climbing all over the goddamn ceiling of the house. And then it ends up in a tree house with some cult worshiping weirdos who I guess are somehow related to these people. Very strange movie. I am going to be putting it on again this October. I'm going to find a time in the next week or so to get to it because I did really like Hereditary, even though it's one of those movies that I could tell you almost nothing about. And in the final spot, I got Ex Machina. I guess I really just like the X, you know? Ex Machina. I'm all in. I'm all in on X's. Exhibit, DMX, celebrate their entire catalog. All right, we got what do we got here? Alicia Vikander, the Tomb Raider, Lara Croft. Not my Tomb Raider. Not my Tomb Raider. I'm Angelina Jolie. Although I will say that Tomb Raider movie she was in, it's okay. It's not terrible. Caleb, a coder at the world's largest internet company, wins a competition. I don't know if it's a win. I don't know if you got a prize here, bud. To spend a week at a private mountain retreat belonging to Nathan, the reclusive CEO of the company. But when Caleb arrives at the remote location, he finds that he will have to participate in a strange and fascinating experiment in which he must interact with the world's first true artificial intelligence, housed in the body of a beautiful robot girl. And what a body it is. This is a Ex Machina is a stunning looking film from top to bottom. Whole movie looks great. I'll say that much. I watched this with my wife. We both really dug this film. Again, another one of those great settings, isolated, remote, up in the mountains, in the woods. You have a fish out of water situation where this dude's thrown into this bizarre situation. He has no idea what's going on. We have Oscar Isaac playing this weirdo, eccentric, Elon Musk-esque individual who you don't know what the fuck he's thinking at any given time, but he's got a plan. He's got a plan. And spoiler, it's not going to be anything good for you. It's all about Oscar Isaac here. The relationship between the AI and the main character, who kind of forgettable, to be honest with you. I don't know who this dude is. I recognize him, but I don't know what the hell he's in. Let me look him up. Oh, Domhnall Gleeson, is that how you say it? He's the douchebag in the Star Wars sequels. He's I don't know his name, but the redheaded guy that gets all ticked off at Snoke, and then he might have died in the second one. I'm not really sure. His character didn't really go anywhere. He's also in The Revenant. Who is he in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows? Is he one of the evil? Wait, oh, that's fucking. Is that Bill? Is that Bill from Harry Potter? Yeah, it is. That's Bill. I'm used to the long hair. Anyway, tangent aside, another movie that nails the landing, the relationship with the AI and this guy who's Bill from Harry Potter. Bill Weasley, we'll call him. Bill Weasley and her have this, kind of torrid love affair going on, and he might be playing her. He's not sure who he can trust, and quite frankly, neither am I. Ex Machina, X awesome. Check it out if you haven't. That's my A24 list. We ran through 14. There's probably a couple more. I know there's a couple more. Green Room, I've told, is really good. Again, I don't know if that's classified as scary horror or whatever, but Green Room I'm hearing is good. Patrick Stewart gives a great performance as the villain. Outside of that, I'm sure there's a few that I haven't seen that someone could put in a super chat if they wanted, recommend it. Otherwise, yeah, that's my list of A24. Blumhouse will probably do on Friday. No, we're not doing a Friday podcast. Or not doing a Friday live. Maybe we'll do a Saturday night live, which, yeah, I know that's in direct competition with Saturday Night Live, if that show's still going. I haven't watched it in a long time. Kyle Nelson, $2 super chat. Is Ernest Scared Stupid A24? If so, that's my pick. It is not. I believe that came out before A24 was even a thing. Ernest Scared Stupid, not terrible. I saw it when I was a kid. You know what? It probably is terrible. I saw it when I was a kid in theaters, and I found it kind of freaking scary. And I think it came out around the same time as Necessary Roughness. For some reason, I believe those two. I think those movies came out the same weekend because I feel like I saw them both back to back or very shortly after one another. And I enjoy both of them. Necessary Roughness, I brought it up recently for some reason. I think I brought it up in one of my recent roasts. Yeah, for Street Fighter, because E Honda is in both Street Fighter and Necessary Roughness. Good flick. Nothing to do with Halloween. Thank you, Kyle. Jan Rose for $5. Thank you, Jan. Love, all caps, Hereditary, Midsummer, The Witch, X, Pearl, and Talk to Me. My favorites. The only one I think we disagree on is Pearl, but I can respect it. I can see where people are coming from, why they like it. Maya Goth, really good in the role. Mia Goth, Maya Goth, Mama Goth, whatever you want to say. She's really good in the role. Take a drink of Mountain Dew. I've been talking at length here. Oh, we didn't get very far into the Mountain Dew, which is good. It's more of just a nectar of the gods that I just need a sample from. All right, after a long pregnant pause, let's see if there's anything else I can run the clock out with. Otherwise, we talked for a good, what do we have, 52 minutes? We're almost at a solid hour, which is around what I like to give out. I like to provide a good hour of solid entertainment. I think I did that today, so that's all that matters. Like I was saying, Blumhouse we'll probably do that on Saturday night. Neon, I could see getting something out of that. There's a movie by, oh my God, what is her name? I just talked about it and I can't remember, but she's a model and it turns out that the other models are cannibals. It's a very disturbing ass movie I can't get out of my brain. That's another one I wanted to do, by the way. I wanted to talk about a top 10 horror moments, top 10 scary moments that jump out for me. I'm sure people will have plenty to interject with, but that's something I think we could have fun with. Top 10 times a scary movie really got you. Whether it's the aha reveal from Saw's ending or the oh my God reveal from Seven's ending, things like that. Or maybe it's just an insane kill from a film. I remember in Saw 2 when they threw the young woman into the pit of needles, I was cringing out of every orifice. I was like, oh my God, why? Why is she in the needles? And why can't she get out? It's like a ball pit. And she just does, everything is hitting her. We could have some fun with that for sure. One more super chat in the shout out of a cannon, Shadow Humor for $5. Thank you, Shadow. Great stream and great takes. Much love. I appreciate that, Shadow Humor, who I think has changed his profile pic. Very manly man. I like the beard. Is that actually you? Because I think it's similar to the other one you had, but I'm pretty sure you had shades on previously. Good looking guy, regardless. I don't know who that is, but I'm impressed. You see, we got one more. Perm. God, I love the name Perm. Perm for $5. Thank you, Perm. Just some more support here. I'm a big movie buff, but horror is probably my least fave. Anyways, love movies and love your channel. Keep it up, man. Thank you, Perm. I appreciate that. I can't say I'm a massive horror fan either, but I feel like the ones that hit really hit well with me. I'm just not a guy that's like, oh, I got to go watch all the Halloween movies or all the Jason movies or all the Friday the 13th or whatever. I've seen bits and pieces of all of them. You know, like I shouldn't say all of them. I should say I've seen bits and pieces of some of them from each franchise. Like I've seen maybe Halloween 1 through 3. I've seen some of the Jason films. I've seen some of the Friday the 13th. I'm not I guess that's the same thing. Friday the 13th is Jason. Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger. You know what I'm saying? I nickel and dime my way through all of it. But yeah, I'm with you, Perm. The ones that hit, though, hit really well, like The Shining, The Thing. Seven's more of a thriller, but you know what I'm saying. Thank you, Perm. I appreciate that. Okay, I think I'm ready to wrap it up. What's coming up the rest of the week? It's Tuesday. So Wednesday, do I have anything prepared to go out on the channel? No. Thursday, do I have anything prepared for the channel? That's a double no. And I don't think anything is going to theaters Thursday that's going to even attempt to rival Taylor Swift's Eras that comes out on Friday. I will keep you posted, though. And I will try to film some stuff tomorrow. So hopefully I have a couple more videos for you this week. I want to keep things growing on the channel. Once again, highly suggest you check out youtube.com Adam Does Movies and just click on that join button. If you have $1 you can spare each month. I keep forgetting that the join button is actually a really easy way to support the channel at a very low cost. You can pick your price per month. You get emoji little icon badge things next to your name, which look pretty fun. And there's different tiers of those that you swap out. You get new ones each month that you're on the channel. You also get access to 300 exclusive videos. It's a good time. And the same for Patreon. You don't get the icons, but you do get other perks there as well, such as the movie catalog, the movies I made when I was younger. You get access to those. And then if you're at the Mithril level, you get to pick a movie roast. Mithril or higher, you get a movie roast pick. And of course, you've seen what's come from those. It's been nothing but beautiful films, beautiful recommendations. You'll love to see it. Okay, outside of that, thank you guys very much. It's been a fun live. It's nice going through the catalog of A24 movies, ones that I've seen, of course. Thank you for the suggestions. And what do we have here? Perm became a YouTube member. Look at that. Perm's in the mix on YouTube. Just like that, we got a new member. Thank you very much, Perm. Beautiful way to end the live stream. And yeah, I think you can find this on the podcast. I'll probably put this on the podcast in a day or two. I like to keep these rolling and keep that growing as well. All right, have a good night. We'll talk to you really soon. Take care.